I can't get rid of this hangover from last night and it's killing me. But no hangover is going to stop me from talking to my adorable, brilliant, beautiful subscribers because we've got something DC to talk about. And you know, we love talking about DC on this channel. Some very exciting DC Universe rumours. Well, it's just one rumour. First of all, let me give you a little DC Universe update straight from James Gunn's The Horse's Mouth. Not that I think you look like a horse, James, or anything. It's just a turn of phrase. Don't worry, we're all friends here. Anyway, so James Gunn has corrected a rumour started by his very own artist on Creature Commandos that the animated DC Universe series was going to be postponed till 2025. I think we discussed this briefly on one of my videos here. Well, James Gunn has corrected this and said there is no postponement. There's no postponement. Let me get my words out. It's the hangover. There's no postponement until 2025. And Creature Commandos, very good news because I'm really intrigued by this project. Creature Commandos will be on Max in 2025. No, it's not. You see, James, you and your artist are confusing me. So Creature Commandos has not been postponed. It's coming out in 2024. I'm like Ross Geller saying Rachel instead of Emily. Emily, 2024. Anyway, so yeah, there's no postponement. So Creature Commandos, as planned, will be released sometime in 2024 on Max. Or will it be on Max? I'm not sure about that because they've been selling off some things to Netflix and Amazon. So don't be surprised if Creature Commandos ends up on Netflix or Prime Video. Now, this is wishful thinking because I don't have access to Max. So I have access to Sky TV where I am here in Cyprus. I'm subscribed to that service, Now TV basically, but I'd have to wait and there'll be spoilers because I'm on the internet all the time. I need to be on the internet because when I'm writing a play, I'm doing my research. I love going on Twitter, X, you know, Instagram, YouTube. So it's very difficult for me not to be spoiled. I can't be in a situation where I'm offline because of what I do, because of my channel, because I want to be in the know all the time as well. I want to know what's going on in the world and in entertainment as well, so we can do these videos. So yeah, a bit difficult. So hopefully it wouldn't be, I don't think anyone would care if it would leave Max and be on Netflix or Prime. More people have probably got Prime Video and Netflix put together than Max. Anyway, Max is not available to a huge global audience, and that's not right. Anyway, let's get to the crux of this video because some very exciting, well, an exciting rumour hit us a couple of days ago and I haven't had the opportunity to discuss it. According to rumour, the writer of Skyfall, the James Bond film Skyfall, and the epic Gladiator is going to be writing the Batman movie in DC Universe at the moment that's going to be directed by Andy Muschietti, Brave and the Bold. So that is very, very exciting. The writer of Skyfall and Gladiator writing Brave and the Bold for James Gunn and DC Universe, because whatever you think of James Gunn and how he's promoted everything DC thus far, and if you feel he's made some mistakes, and if you're very angry about him removing Henry Cavill, whatever you think of him, he is trying to get the best people to be involved in this brand new universe. And I forget the writer's name, but if you wrote Skyfall and Gladiator, you're all right with me. And so that would be amazing. It really would. That's the kind of quality we want writing DC. What kind of film is Brave and the Bold going to be? Well, I've always believed I think it's going to be a wacky movie. I really do. But considering the Romin, you see, I need to stop going out in this little village Ayanapa because it's not helping my content, is it? Not that anybody's watching this, so it really doesn't matter what cock-ups I make, does it? Anyway, considering that we know what Robin we're getting in this movie, and I've forgotten his name as well. So basically, it's the Robin who was raised by, Ra's al Ghul, and who is Bruce Wayne's son. And so that's very, very interesting, because I do believe there will be wacky elements to this, because Brave and the Bold is, those comics are wacky. And the animated series, which is my favourite Batman animated series, Batman the Brave and the Bold, was very wacky and very interesting as well, but did have its dark emotional core, even in that animated series. So I think it'll be a mixture of the sublime to the ridiculous. Now, we haven't had that type of take since the 1960s Batman series. Now, if you ask me, Batman could really do with a wacky take. Why, Mick? What's wrong with the Reeves verse, or the Burton's verse, or the Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy? Well, they're great, but everyone's kind of going dark and broody with Batman. Batman isn't just a dark and brooding character. If you see the multitude of works that's been done on him in graphic novels and comic books, you'll see that actually sometimes he can be very light, very fun, and that's okay. We're in a situation at DC Universe and DC Elseworlds that we're going to have one version of Batman in the cinematic universe, and then we've got Matt Reeves' The Batman cinematic universe. For some reason, we're going to have two versions of Batman. Well, James Gunn is stuck with Matt Reeves' Batman cinematic universe, because those agreements were made prior to when James came in. There's nothing he can do about it. If it was up to him, it wouldn't be there, I'm quite sure. But even though he's co-CEO of DC Studios, there's nothing he can do about that. You'd have to be a maniac to get rid of, someone like Matt Reeves making Batman content. I've been hearing a lot of rumors about the Penguin series. It's very, very good. That doesn't surprise me. I'm very excited to see that as well. I can't even remember. Is it out next year? Is it being delayed till 2025? I can't remember anyway. No, it's been delayed to... That's another bit of gossip I nearly forgot to tell you. You see? Got to stop drinking and having fun. But that's been delayed to the fall of 2024. That's autumn to us Brits and Europeans, and that's around September time. And I'm really, really looking forward to that. So you wouldn't want to lose what Matt Reeves is doing with the Batman cinematic universe and streaming universe as well. But it is difficult to have two versions of the same character. And, what you do with that? Well, what you've got to do with it, you've got to make it different. You can't have another dark and brooding Batman in DC Universe, so there's no point. And I think this is one of the reasons James is opted and, plumped for Brave and the Bold, because as I said earlier, it's a very, very wacky way of doing Batman. And I think this is a very, very good idea. This is one of the projects I'm really excited about. Obviously, Superman Legacy, because Supes is my man. Batman Brave and the Bold, or Brave and the Bold. I think the Paradise Lost series, which is the Wonder Woman prequel series on Max, is very intriguing to me as well. Swamp Thing, Supergirl, things like that. But I must be honest, despite my love for the Snyderverse, I think that, I think that, it's interesting what James Gunn is attempting to do, at the very least. I'm not saying it's going to be great. I'm not saying it's not going to be great. I think it's a wait-and-see scenario, isn't it? But I think certainly when you're bringing in the writer, now we don't know, it's just a rumour at this point, but if you do attach the writer of, Gladiator and Skyfall, at least your heart is in the right place and you're trying to make quality DC content. And this is what we've been desperate for, because for me, since Aquaman, a movie that I loved, apart from the Joker and the Batman, we haven't had very good DC movies. They've been mid, they've been low-key, they've been dull, they've been boring, they've been underwhelming. I know lots of people have got different opinions about Shazam! Fury of the Gods. A few people love it. Most people, it's just, it's a shoulder shrug. I love Black Adam. Some people think it's a stupid, dumb movie. I love Black Adam. The Flash movie, for me, had some good things. I think Miller's performance was outstanding, playing two versions of the same character. Did a very good job, but his conduct outside of that film their conduct outside of that film damaged what this film could achieve. But that film was a mess in a lot of ways. Let's be honest. Supergirl replacing Superman instead of having Superman and Supergirl standing together, which is what happens in the comics. Of course, Supergirl has her own stories, and Superman has his own separate stories, but they're cousins. They have a close bond. One doesn't replace the other, but that's current day Hollywood. And lots of conflicting stories about the problems Cavill had with WB Pictures and the supposed problems they had with him. And that's part of the reason that Supergirl replaced Superman. I know that. And so, look, James Gunn has a huge mess to fix. And his way of doing that is using that Flash movie to basically create a brand new DC timeline. So instead of the DC Extended Universe, we've now got DC Universe. An Extended Universe is a lot different to DC Universe because that kind of hints towards a universe. James Gunn is trying to build a proper DC universe, and I think what Snyder was trying to do was he was building a universe, of course he was, but it was something quite different. In a way, he was just trying to tell you a mini-series. So we were going to go Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, maybe Man of Steel 2 at some point, definitely Ben Affleck's The Batman movie as well, Justice League 2, Justice League 3. Then he was going to create a Flashpoint scenario himself. Then a new creative could replace him. Unfortunately, that never happened. And I do mean that genuinely. Unfortunately. So, yeah, I think James is definitely trying to attach good people to these projects. Unfortunately, a lot of these good, talented people have rejected his offers. Like Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck is a really good writer-director, especially director. He's a very good director. And, you know, he would have given us a great DC movie. His Batman movie would have been outstanding, considering the leaks I've heard about his ideas for that film. Very dark, very compelling, very gritty. It would have been outstanding, and we lost out, even though I don't blame Matt Reeves for that. It's not Matt Reeves' fault. Yes, he didn't want to direct Ben's picture. He didn't want Ben as Batman. That's obvious, right? But he was coming in to do his own thing. It's a bit weird, the Matt Reeves situation, because he comes in to direct Ben's movie. Then he gets to direct his own Batman movie. And I can understand why people may be frustrated with Matt about that, but he could see the problems with directing somebody's picture while they're acting in that role. It would have been a conflict of interest for Ben. They would have ended up falling out. It just wouldn't have worked. So Matt was right to do his own thing, but it shouldn't have been a scenario in the first place. They should never have brought Matt Reeves in to direct Ben's movie. Ben should have basically got to write, direct, and star in his Batman movie like he wanted. But unfortunately, they didn't want dark, brooding movies. But let's be clear, Matt Reeves' The Batman is a very, very dark, brooding movie. There's not a lot of violence in it. There's not a lot of action in it. It's a psychological noir thriller, and I love it. The Batman is a great movie. Yes, it is a little bit woke in places, right? But mostly, it's a very, very good movie. So we forgive the wokeness when the wokeness is put in. I think when the heart's in the right place over the wokeness, and the movie is quality. And I think I can say both those things about Matt Reeves' The Batman. And so what we're looking at with Brave and the Bold is a stark contrast. The stark opposite of Matt Reeves' The Batman cinematic universe. It's going to be brighter. It's going to be wackier. And I'm really, really excited about this because what are we going to get? What type of Batman are we going to get? What type of Bruce Wayne are we going to get in this Brave and the Bold film, in this DC Universe version of Batman? Is this an older Batman? Is this a younger Batman? Could it be that George Clooney is that Batman? That would be insane. Now, from the stuff that he's liked of people posting on social media, I wouldn't think that he would touch George Clooney with a barge pole. You wouldn't think it's an older Batman. But wouldn't it have to be a slightly older Batman, considering he's going to be a father? Damian Wayne! Damian Wayne, I remembered his name, yeah. Damian Wayne is Robin in Brave and the Bold. I think this is a great choice for Robin, by the way, because it gives that conflicting, emotional kind of, character dynamic for Bruce Wayne and Batman in this universe that James Gunn is formulating. So yeah, I think Damian Wayne is a great choice. I remembered his name in the end. The hangover is going, the alcohol is subsiding. But I think, yeah, that's the kind of thing that's going to be interesting here. Because as I say, yeah, we got his son Damian Wayne in this movie. So it would have to be a slightly older Batman, wouldn't it? I mean, look, he could perceivably be late 20s, early 30s to be a father. He could be in his 40s. So it's going to be interesting. Was George Clooney introduced to that moment for a reason, or was it just a silly cameo? Would I be surprised if George Clooney was playing Batman in this universe? No, I wouldn't. I don't expect it to happen, but stranger things could happen in this wacky DC universe that James Gunn is creating. It's going to be a very different, comic booky cinematic universe. Look, you're going to say it's MCU 2.0 if you don't want it to succeed, or if you've got an agenda against James Gunn. The only kind of similarities will be that it's a cinematic universe like the MCU. I think it will be nothing like the MCU. I think it's going to be very different with some unique takes and some unique veneers, like The Lantern Show, which is basically two lanterns, basically as cops. It's a cop drama, right? It's a true detective kind of drama. So that's, already he's taking different veneers with, comic book live action, which I find very, very interesting. So I don't think it will be like the MCU, apart from it being a cinematic universe, and it will be connected. He's already said he doesn't want it to be like homework. So yeah, I'm not going to totally dismiss the opportunity of George Clooney playing Batman again and Bruce Wayne. As I say, it will be an insane casting decision, but don't be surprised if it happens. In reality, of course, I'm reaching. It's probably not going to happen, but don't be surprised if that's the case. Now, George now must be at least 60, mustn't he? George must be at least 60. So I don't know if that's the case. I would think that this Batman will be around 30 to 40. But as I say, he's going to be a father in this film, so he can't be too young, and Batman's never been that young anyway in most graphic novels, comic books, movies, television shows. So he has to be someone of a certain age. So it'll be interesting the kind of actor he brings in. Will he bring a known actor as Batman? Because that happened, didn't it? After Michael Keaton left the role, we went with Val Kilmer, who was pretty well known at the time. Of course, he was always well known from Top Gun afterwards. Then he went for George Clooney, who was, the new kid on the block. Everybody loved George Clooney. George Clooney was getting cast everywhere because everyone fell in love with him via his role in ER. And it was basically the actor of the day. Yeah, let's cast him as Batman. It was a big mistake. But could George Clooney as Batman Bruce Wayne work in this new DC universe and in Brave and the Bold? I think if you did it at a certain slant, that could very much work. And it would be great for George in a way, because that's kind of the little elephant in the room of his career. His career has been wonderful. ER, the Tarantino movie, just everything that he's done has been fantastic. He's done a lot of indie movies. He's given to a lot of charitable causes. He's fought for a lot of causes and people struggling in the world. So I've got a lot of time for George Clooney as a person and an artist. So I wouldn't be overly triggered if this happens. I doubt it will happen, but who knows? Now, let's move from DC to Zack Snyder, who used to make DC, of course. Well, next month, we're going to be finally seeing his original pitch for Star Wars in an original story that now has nothing to do with Star Wars. And that, of course, my friends, is Rebel Moon. And guess what? Zack Snyder announced yesterday that there's some kind of American football match, and attached to that football match this Sunday is the full trailer of Rebel Moon, and I'm so excited. But Zack Snyder released another perler for us, another shock. I didn't know this, and I think this is very, very smart and intelligent of Zack Snyder. He says that his Rebel Moon universe and his Army of the Dead universe are connected. All of a sudden, I'm a lot more interested in Army of the Dead, so I probably need to rewatch that movie, which I really liked. I didn't dislike Army of the Dead, but it didn't hit me like his other movies, like his DC trilogy, like his Watchmen movie, 300, films like that. But it was and I'm not into zombies. It was a really good movie, but I'm not into zombies. So remember, the full Rebel Moon trailer, Sunday night, I think. Now that's American time. So basically that will be, I think, in the early hours of Monday morning here in Europe, here in Cyprus, where I am. So when I wake up on Monday, unless I do something insane and stay up, at the moment I'm staying up late because Big Brother out here is on at 11 because it's on 9 on ITV2 every night, apart from... Did I spit? That's disgusting. I do apologise. I hope I didn't get you. Anyway, it's not my morning, is it? This is the problem. I need to stay in for one night. I'm not doing it. I love going out in Iron Apple. And if I saw you in Iron Apple last night, hey, thanks for the drinks. But anyway. So, yeah, I think this is an outstanding idea that the kind of Rebel Moon universe and the Army of the Dead universe will be connected. I think that's very, very exciting for Zack Snyder fans. And look, I've said it all along. This is a Star Wars pitch, and I really believe that this is a smart pitch from Zack Snyder. Let's compare it to The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens casts a female lead, which is something that happens a lot in film today because women should be leads. Just make sure you write them as well as you were the guys back in the day. Now, I think Daisy Ridley's Rey in The Force Awakens was a lot of a more interesting character because I liked her and Boyega in scenes. I thought they had great chemistry. Taking that dynamic away in The Last Jedi hurt Rey as well. But let's look at this, right? You've got Rey. Now, in Rebel Moon, we also have a female lead. But there's something more believable about her physicality, the female lead's physicality in Rebel Moon, from what I've seen from promos and stuff. I believe that if she fought with a man, that she could beat a man. She looks tough. And that's the thing. It's all about believability. It's like when I used to watch Buffy, Sarah Michelle Gellar as Buffy, when she was beating up all those 6-foot guys. I never believed it. I thought, how is she doing that? This is ridiculous, right? There has to be believability. Of course a woman can beat up a man, even if he's 6 foot and she's shorter. If a woman has fighting skills, if she's trained in the arts, in martial arts, and, and she knows what to do, she could, when I see these fandom menace YouTubers go, oh yeah, a 6-foot bloke being beaten up by a shorter woman, how is that possible? It's very possible if they know what they're doing. Because fighting isn't all about physical strength. It's nuance in what to do in fighting conditions. I'm not a fighter. A female, I'm 6 foot, but a female could easily kick the crap out of me. I'm not even saying anything different. But there has to be believability. And I never believed that Sarah Michelle Gellar could beat anyone up. But this lead, and I forget the character name she has. I forget the actress's name. I apologise. I'm rubbish with names as well. But anyway, the physicality is there. But this is very interesting because You know, you've got Jinzu Honsu, which is an actor of colour. Very prominent role in the film as well. When you see the promos for Rebel Moon, there's a lot of inclusive casting in it of very talented minority actors, and that's the difference. I mean, don't get me wrong, John Boyega is a great actor. I enjoyed seeing him in that Star Wars trilogy, but literally, he was in the background in The Last Jedi, and, you know, what was the other one? The Rise of Skywalker. But in the first film, him and Daisy on screen together were great. There was banter. I think it really worked. But I think that Zack Snyder is really going to pull off this original pitch for a Star Wars movie. As Deborah Snyder said, she was relieved it was never accepted because she knows what these people are like. She knows what Kathleen Kennedy's like. She knows what WB and DC did to her husband. So she doesn't want Zack to go through that again. But with Netflix, they have something special here with Zack Snyder, and they know it. So he's building this Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead universe, which is supposed to be the same universe. This could be very, very successful for Zack Snyder. And I've said this before. You know, people talk about restoring the DC Snyderverse. Well, if this is successful with Rebel Moon, if Rebel Moon is successful, as I've said before, that will give Zack a great chance. But here's the thing. He's very, very busy. So it'll be interesting if he's there, even if asked if he's going to be able to come back to DC. It's very unlikely that we restore the Snyderverse, but it doesn't mean we don't keep on trying. I'd love to see Zack do more DC movies. But I'm very intrigued with Rebel Moon. And it's going to be interesting what the pundits and the critics make of this movie, because critics as a whole don't really understand Zack Snyder as a director, as a narrator of stories, because his stories are more visual. He's a visual storyteller, and they really don't get what he's trying to say. So they didn't like Man of Steel. They love Batman vs Superman even less, and they actually quite like Zack Snyder's Justice League. Oh, how did they put it? It's better than better than the theatrical version. Well, that was a ridiculous compliment, because anything, I mean, I could make something better than Justice League, you know, and I'm not an experienced film director. So I don't think that was much of a compliment, and that was mostly the compliments he was getting. But people definitely liked the Snyder Cut. So it's going to be interesting what people make of Rebel Moon. Here's the thing. I don't think this film's going to break the fourth wall. Zack Snyder likes to do what Zack Snyder likes to do in his films. This is going to be Zack Snyder unhinged. He's got a huge budget. He can do whatever he wants. He's a master at special effects, VFX and CGI. We know that. He's got, you know, we've got Junkie XL doing the music, and his music in the DCEU, in the Snyderverse, is fantastic, alongside the work he did with Hans Zimmer in Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman: Dawn of Justice. So we've got a great composer, we've got a great director, you know, telling us a great, you know, space story. So it's going to be interesting, and we're told that it's not about space heroes, but space rebels. Rebel Moon. That's the whole point. And so, yeah, I'm very, very excited, and I'm really hyped that he's saying, you know, because where do these, like, he's saying the Army of the Dead and Rebel Moon, it's one universe, so, and I can't remember what happens in Army of the Dead, so I don't know if it was explained where these zombies originated from. Could it be that these zombies originated from space, that their DNA originated from space? And there could be some hints in Rebel Moon about that. So I'm so hyped for this movie. I'm even more hyped now. I know it's going to be one gigantic Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead universe. It's very, very interesting what Zack Snyder's doing, because Netflix are clearly the most successful streaming platform. This is the platform recently that stopped password sharing. Any other service did that, they would be out of business now. But Netflix is a very, very good service, and they're only going to go from strength to strength. You know, everyone thought D Plus was going to defeat them. You know, Apple would defeat them. Apple are certainly doing a very good. They're becoming an alternative to Netflix. They're not doing the same things, and they're making proper movies. You know, so that's interesting as well. But yeah, if Rebel Moon is successful, this will be a big deal, because I believe that if Rebel Moon was successful, whether WB had put the offer on the table to sell Snyderverse on, let me say that again. Even if whether WB have put that offer on the table to Netflix to sell Snyderverse to Netflix or not, I believe if Rebel Moon is successful, I think Netflix will be knocking on WB's door to asking them if there's a possibility to sell Snyderverse to Netflix.